Good morning, good morning. I'm New York City Councilman Jim Gennaro, Chairman of the Committee on Environmental Protection with the City Council. And what are we going to talk about on a beautiful, bright, sunny fall day? Stormwater. Stormwater. Because stormwater matters. New York City has got tremendous stormwater problems. And I'm joined today by the SWIM Coalition. Stormwater infrastructure matters. Stormwater infrastructure matters. People don't pay attention to stormwater. It rains, it goes down the drain. Where does it go? Who knows? It goes to our coastal waterways, goes to our harbors, goes to our bays, goes to our precious natural resources, our wetlands, and it's critically important that we do everything we can to mitigate the harmful effects of stormwater. The people behind me are going to talk a little bit about combined sewer overflow. You have storm sewers that are joined with sanitary sewers. When you get wet weather, the storm flow travels to the sewage treatment plant along with the sanitary flow. The wet flow, the storm flow overtakes the sewage treatment plants very quickly. The sewage treatment plants sort of shut down, and all of the flow, the sanitary flow and the storm flow, goes out to our local water bodies. 27 billion gallons a year. 27 billion with a B gallons a year of CSO discharge, and it's some nasty stuff that does contain raw sewage, goes out to our local waterways. And we've been dealing with this issue for a long time. There was a 1992 consent order, 96 consent order with the state. There was the 2004 consent order. So consent order after consent order, the state has engaged the city to get us into compliance. But we have a solution, and the solution is, although it's good to have engineered solutions, we really need Mother Nature. Mother Nature is a big part of the solution, and there are things that we can do, so-called best management practices. Best management practices to have Mother Nature herself deal with some of this stormwater, to mitigate the impacts of stormwater, to retain it so it never gets to the storm sewer, so it never gets to our local water bodies. And so this is what we're going to talk about a little bit about today. And by these best management practices, we're talking about measures such as, and these are coming knowledge now, so many of you may already know them. Green roofs where the roof itself captures some of the water through vegetation. Bioretention, in which we're basically using plants and green cover to absorb and assimilate stormwater. Tree cover. Tree pit design. You see tree pits in the streets all the time. Sometimes you see the tree and you got a bunch of granite blocks there or whatever. Not much ability for that tree pit to absorb and assimilate water. There are more intelligent ways to design tree pits that we can use now. We can use tree pits on streetscapes to funnel water into those tree pits to use them to retain stormwater. Permeable pavement is sort of like the next plateau of sensible street design. Where the pavement itself, takes in the water and it percolates through the pavement. Wetland preservation and creation. God knows we're doing everything we can with that. The bill I did last year or 2 years ago on the Jamaica Bay management plan, on the transfer of city-owned wetlands. We've lost 86% of our wetlands over the last 100 years. That 86% translates to 86 square miles of wetlands we've managed to destroy in the New York Harbor area over the last 100 years. We have to preserve and protect our remaining wetlands. Green streets, green walls, blue roofs, rain barrels, cisterns. We're going back to the 18th century now. Downspout disconnections. There's no reason why every single downspout has to go to a sewer. There are ways to sort of feed water so it doesn't get into the storm sewer system. Subgrade storage chambers, gray water reuse. We're able to reuse some water now. It shouldn't all go down the drain. And so, these are the concepts that we must put forward. We have to use the power of Mother Nature together with our engineered solutions to really make a difference. And we've got 3 bills that we're going to be hearing at the City Council today. One would be all authored by me and my talented staff, and all inspired by the SWIM Coalition. One would call upon the administration, consistent with the Plan NYC, to develop a comprehensive stormwater management plan, but a very, very detailed one that would go water body by water and figure out what would work best for that water body. Milestones, measurements, timetables, a complete comprehensive stormwater management plan. We're going to have an advisory committee that will help advise the city with that. It'll be such a comprehensive plan that it'll be a bellwether for other stormwater management efforts throughout the country. We have another bill that we're going to be hearing today at 1 o'clock. Everybody's invited, where we talk about doing city construction projects in such a way so as to build those city construction projects to minimize stormwater impacts. We think which is another critical bill. And the third bill deals just with tree pits, by configuring the city's tree pits in such a way that they are used to assimilate and mitigate the stormwater. The mayor, to his credit, through Plan NYC, is going to be planting 1 million trees around the city over X period of time, whatever it is. And we believe that these 1 million trees, with intelligent tree pit design, can really play a big role in mitigating stormwater damage. It's also important to take some of the existing tree pits, which we've already done in my district to some extent, and retrofit those tree pits to make them bigger, to give them a better design, to make them more intelligent. And so these are some of the good things that we have in store for the hearing today. And with that, I'd like to call upon the first of several speakers who will share their thoughts with us. The first is Teresa Crimmins of the Bronx River Alliance. Teresa.
Thank you. You're a lot taller than me.
Oh.
Hi, my name's Teresa, and I'm here representing Storm Water Infrastructure Matters, or the SWIM Coalition. We want to thank Councilmember Gennaro for working with SWIM to create this legislation that will improve water quality in New York City. The Stormwater Infrastructure Matters is a coalition of more than 50 organizations throughout the city. We're dedicated to ensuring swimmable waters through sustainable stormwater management practices in our neighborhoods. Our members are working within the communities to improve water quality through greening and education. I'm also here representing the Bronx River Alliance. The Bronx River Alliance took more than 1,000 paddlers out onto the Bronx River in canoes and kayaks this year, 2007. We also introduced 400 alewife herring into the river and created habitat for shellfish. It's really so important that we keep this water and land together healthy for all of the living creatures in New York City. Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa. Next we have Larry Levine from the Natural Resources Defense Council. Larry Levine. Larry.
Thank you, Councilmember Gennaro.
No coat.
Beautiful day. Thank you, Councilmember Gennaro. My name is Larry Levine. I'm with Natural Resources Defense Council. We're a national environmental advocacy group with over 1.5 million members and activists around the country, and over 10,000 just in New York City alone. The combined sewer overflow problem is one that we've been working on both here in New York and nationwide for many years, and unfortunately it's one that we've yet to solve. But these 3 pieces of legislation that will be the subject of this afternoon's hearing will go a long way towards solving that problem. Right now, the plans, the latest plans that the City Department of Environmental Protection has announced would, through end-of-the-pipe type fixes, engineering fixes, would decrease the amount of sewage overflow by around 10 billion gallons a year. But that would still leave another 18 billion gallons a year. They project forward to the year 2045 with increased population growth. Still 18 billion gallons a year running into all of the streams, rivers, bays around our city. And we simply think that's not acceptable. Currently there are some 460 outfalls spread around all 5 boroughs that discharge raw sewage when it rains as little as 1/10 of an inch in New York City. And about a third, by some estimates, a third of all public access points to the waterfront around the city are within 3 city blocks of one of these outfalls. So this is a problem that affects all of us here in New York, all of us who waterfront, who want to enjoy more and recreate more on our waterfront. And again, we believe these bills will go a long way towards addressing this problem. All the solutions that the council member addressed, from green roofs to porous pavement to rain gardens and so on, these can be implemented on both public and private property. They can be implemented in new development, redevelopment, and even retrofitting an existing development. And so for those reasons, NRDC and the SWIM coalition, of which we're a part, strongly support the passage of these bills. We look forward to working with City Council, with Councilmember Gennaro and his staff, and we anticipate with the mayor as well in advancing the goals of his Plan YC through this legislation. We look forward to working with them all as we move forward on this. Thank you. And
Thank you. Well,
back to the council member.
okay, thank you. Thank you, Larry. Yeah, and we're very, very grateful for the support that the SWIM Coalition is giving, because it's critical that we create legislation that will succeed the Bloomberg administration, that will succeed my tenure as chairman of the committee. Plan YC is very ambitious. My agenda is very ambitious, but we're not going to be here for very long. So it's critically important that we get these in the form of bills. And so it's all well and good for Plan YC to have certain concepts embedded in it, but the way to make sure that carries over into the next administration and into the next City Council is to reduce this to enforceable legislation. So we're very grateful to the SWIM Coalition for pushing for these bills to be passed. And the next speaker, Kate Zeider of the Youth Ministries for Peace and Justice. Kate Zeider.
Okay, thank you very much. What you were just talking about, Councilman, is pertinent to what I'd like to talk about, the community aspect of the SWIM Coalition and the longevity of this kind of work. Really, the SWIM members are representing community projects in progress, ongoing, and we're interested in really like the long-term aspects of stormwater management planning. As I said, we're a coalition of communities. We're a coalition of community experts. And we have leaders in policy, education, soil science, you name it, leaders in kayaking and fishing. And really what we represent are also leaders in implementation of BMPs. Right now in New York City, a lot of the stormwater management BMPs that are sustainable, that are in place, have come from local efforts, have come from our member organizations. Just to give you an idea of what that looks like in the community I serve, we've installed at YMPJ in the South Bronx with our youth organizers. We've installed a rain barrel in our backyard. We've installed rain gardens to capture runoff from our roof. We've trained young people to be street tree stewards, and we've also installed a green roof on our neighboring, on a church next door to our organization. These things really matter in communities, and especially to young people. Whenever I'm talking to a young person, whenever our staff is working with young people and we're talking about water quality, we're also talking about air quality, we're talking about asthma, we're talking about jobs, we're talking about things that matter on the ground in neighborhoods in New York City. Our member organizations, we have a lot to be proud of. The projects I just spoke about from my home organization. In addition to that, other organizations have been pushing the envelope on local implementation of green roof, locally specific technologies for green roofs, jobs training for installation to make sure that there's a new sector of green jobs that are sourced locally in something here. As well as we've been investigating how to do monitoring, how to the street tree pits that the councilman mentioned, how those can be designed to be most effective here, and countless other projects that really on a local level are one thing, but when you think about them citywide, that's really what we're doing here together today. That's really why we've all joined forces. So we really appreciate the support of Councilman Gennaro, and we look forward to working more with the City Council and other city partners working towards swimmability in New York City. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Kate. Thank you, Kate. And Rob Krotorov, I hope I'm saying that right. Rob Krotorov, Sustainable South Bronx. Rob, did I say that right?
Yes. Thank you, Councilmember Gennaro, for your support on these legislation. With Sustainable South Bronx, one of the most important values is environmental justice, and for us, it's extremely important that everybody in New York City will be impacted and benefit from these legislation. For over the course of the last several decades, land use has been changing a lot throughout New York City, and we have been retaking our waterfronts. There are waterfront parks that are opening up. We are developing real estate like never before along the waterfront. Sustainable South Bronx is part of a coalition called the Southern Bronx River Watershed Alliance, which is re-envisioning how we can use the waterfront differently and how we can redevelop the city to make the waterfront a true asset. A greenway just opened in Hunts Point. 2 waterfront parks are being used by everybody in the neighborhood, and it is important that the water be safe for recreation. Another important component is the job creation economic development component. For example, we run an ecological restoration job training program at Sustainable South Bronx. Over 60 graduates over the last 5 years have been trained in many different forms of ecological restoration. Over 80% are currently employed or in college. This is something that works, job training for the green collar sector. We run a green roof installation program and hire graduates of our training program. So this is something that works. We have 2 greenway stewards on staff who maintain the greenway. Again, it's not only a way to improve the storm water, which is very important, and improve air quality, improve public health, but also to create jobs. So thank you so much for your leadership on this legislation, and thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Rob. And Rob pointed a good point about the green economy. I've been putting money in the budget for the last 2 years for the New York Industrial Retention Network and the Central Labor Council. They have a coalition, New York Apollo, that is really seeking to move New York City's green economy forward as we do more with as we make environmental progress, as we put forward the need to take these measures. There's a great demand for environmental products and services that should be filled locally. So this is an area that we really wish to probe. Yeah, we're joined. Okay. Hovering nearby is Councilmember David Yaski, who's a great environmentalist in his own right, and has made major strides. And we're very, very happy to have him here today. One of the bills that we're going to be hearing today at the committee at 1 o'clock is a David Yaski bill, and I'd like to bring him on next to say a few words. So a great environmental champion, David Yaski.
Well, coming from you, Mr. Chairman, that's a real compliment. Thank you very much, and thank you for the leadership you're showing here and have shown throughout the 6 years on all environmental issues, but in particular on water quality. As you know, and Brand, I just wanted to say hello, so I'm sorry to duck out right there in the middle. But when anytime there's any rain at all, really, any substantial rain in this city, we are releasing gallons and gallons and gallons of untreated sewage into the harbor. That is terribly destructive to our ecosystem. We have to make the necessary investments and policy changes to reduce that as much as we can. I think what the Chair Gennaro has proposed is a huge step in the right direction, and we can. There are little things and big things, and we got to do them all. I'm hoping to contribute a little thing by letting homeowners not have rainwater, where feasible, have rainwater drain off right into the ground rather than go into the combined sewer system that we have. And the big things that the Chair has proposed are exactly right as well. So I thank you very much for your leadership, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, David. And it's important because every drop of water that doesn't make it into the storm sewer system is a drop of water that doesn't come out of a CSO. So it's critically important that we take all steps with 28 billion gallons a year of CSO discharges. Every step has to be taken. Thank you. Thank you, David. And next we'll hear from Craig Michaels of Riverkeeper. Craig Michaels.
Thank you, Councilman Gennaro. My name is Craig Michaels. I'm an investigator for Hudson Riverkeeper. We're an environmental group that's been prosecuting polluters in and around New York for more than 40 years. And for about 20 years, we've been involved in litigation over the issue of combined sewer overflows. Today is really a major step forward, and that's because the legislation that's being introduced today by Councilman Yaski really goes a long way towards looking at stormwater, the stormwater that overflows our sewer system, as a resource instead of a waste, which is how it's been traditionally viewed. And water quality in and around New York City has improved greatly since the passage of the Clean Water Act. However, as has been noted, we're still flushing 27 billion gallons of raw sewage into the harbor each year. And now New York Harbor has always been, New York Harbor and the waterways that feed into it have always been the lifeblood of this city. And in order for us to keep it that way, there's one major goal that we have to embrace, and that is the goal of fishable and swimmable waters. That is the call of the Clean Water Act, and I believe that is the driving force behind legislation like the bills being heard today. And we applaud Councilman Gennaro, Councilman Yaski, council members that will be co-sponsoring these bills and voting in favor of them. We look forward to working with the councilman. We look forward to working with the mayor's office. Obviously, Plan NYC set forth an amazing vision of sustainability. But it's also important to realize, as Councilman Gennaro alluded to earlier, that in order for these policies to turn into on-the-ground reality, turn into actual on-the-ground solutions and implementation, there have to be laws and regulations on the books that can be enforced. And these bills today go a long way towards making that happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Craig. I'd like to give a very special shout out to Betsy McDonald of the New York, New Jersey Baykeeper. Very grateful to have her here today and for the great work that they provide out there on the water every day. So I want to thank the SWIM Coalition, thank my colleague David Yaski, and if there are any questions, I can duck them. Oh, you have to speak a little, sorry.
What is the major impediment from redesigning the overflow system so that no
well, there's, I think we're doing by trying to put less water into the system. Once the water goes into the system, it has to go someplace. And the idea behind the combined system, as opposed to part of the city which has separate sanitary sewers and storm sewers, where they're separate, the storm sewers automatically go out to a local water body. And so, and some percentage of the city has that kind of setup, where the sanitary waste goes directly to a sewage treatment plant, every drop gets treated, and the storm waste, every drop goes out to a local water body with floatables and grease and antifreeze and dog feces and everything else that you can think about. So the concept of the combined sewer isn't a bad one, in that the thinking is we'll try to treat the sanitary flow, and we'll also try to treat the storm flow as well. Try to get that to a sewage treatment plant for treatment. But there's only so much capacity at these plants, and they get overwhelmed. And so once the plant has reached capacity, you can't get any more water in there. It has to bypass, it has to overflow. So then you get the storm flow going out, and you get some of the sanitary flow going out, which is bad. So the solution is, there are some engineering solutions, like these underwater, these tanks under the ground, that the overflow goes into these tanks under the ground and stays there until like the dry weather comes, and then they feed into the sewage treatment plants during dry days. I think that's part of it, but the impediment to that has been the cost of them, the siting of them. It's been very difficult to move that forward. So I think we have to continue along the path, looking at common sense engineering solutions, but we can't ignore the role that Mother Nature can play, and sensible steps that we can take so that less water gets into the system. And so there's only so much you can do with concrete, bricks and mortar, engineered solution. We have to use Mother Nature, and that's what these bills are about. More questions? Hard ones, even. Okay. Thank you all very much.
Presented with that, you might as well.
Thank you. Good job. Good job. I want to see who has cold hands.